tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Popping tennis swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track.
Another Queen Ahmadiyyah production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading on light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Popping tennis swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading on light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Popping tennis swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams.
All right. Hello, everyone. Grand Rising. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. All right. Hello, Leon, Pearly, Mr. Elevation, Starseed Oracle. All right. Let's get into it, Diane. Okay. With that being said, hey, Christopher. G from the land is here. DJ Big Six. All right. Let's get it done. Dragon Lily. Okay. Volvo to Love is here. Aqua Girl Rising. Ashkan. All right. Or Ashkan. I'm sorry. Emperor Rex. All right. Sheila is here. Okay. So with that being said, hey, Alice, we the people. Okay. So with that being said, let's get into it. Nessa G is in the virtual building. Deronda Charlotte is here. All right. And RN, sir. Okay. So with that being said, everybody hit that like button. Like, share, subscribe. Don't forget to double check and make sure you're still subscribed to the channel, especially if you have not been receiving those notifications. Now, with that all being said, let's have a brief word from my sponsor before we get into the nefariousness of it all.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. And you can also find it at Walmart.com. And don't forget that she sells the beard oil as well. All right. So before we get into it, there's a couple of crimes that I want to talk about really quick, and that'll give other people some time to get in here so they don't miss anything. But let's talk about these crimes because there's a lady that was raped, okay, by her doctor, allegedly, in Miami. And so the police, for whatever reason, according to sources, stopped the investigation, even though there was proof that this woman had been assaulted. Okay, so let's go to a TikTok that someone did. And I looked it up. And as I started looking this up, it seems to me that this is something that seems to be common in Florida because I found several other cases, and it's absolutely appalling.
Woman in Florida went to get surgery, and afterwards she felt pain down there and in her throat. So she went into the doctor, and it was so torn up here, she had to get surgery on her uvula. And then the doctor requested her to get a rape kit. And guess what? It came back positive with semen in her cervix. Now, the police were investigating, and now the Miami Police Department, I will call you out. You stopped the investigation. You closed it. You closed the investigation when there was clear evidence that this woman got raped. And the problem is, too, she's a lesbian. So we know for a fact that this woman just got raped by doctors, mind you. Okay? Miami Police Department, what do you have to say about this? This is unacceptable. A woman in Florida.
Okay, absolutely egregious. Now, with that being said, here is a picture of the alleged doctor. I saw this in the young lady from TikTok because I didn't find it when I was looking up the story to verify it. But this is the picture of the doctor that they had in the comments section and who is supposedly one of those accused. Mind you, she said doctor with a plural, so that just leads me to believe that there was more than one. Okay, this is the person they posted. All right, so I find it all very interesting. Absolutely nefarious. Now, like I said, upon trying to confirm this story that she did her TikTok about, I found other stories. So let's go to a couple of them. This is all crazy. These are your doctors, ladies. Then they were all cosmetic doctors, mind you. Here's one right here. Now, he was recently charged March 20th of 2026. Okay, that's when this article came out. Sedated cosmetic surgery patient says she was raped. Doctor says it was consensual. Well, why would the woman lie? Okay, I absolutely believe that he did it. Freak. Okay, this is a lifeline for you ladies. Y'all need to be more careful about getting these surgeries. Okay, now it goes on to say, a South Florida doctor was arrested on allegations of assaulting a patient. Ronald DeMayo, age 63, a resident of Miami, was arrested on Wednesday and charged with 3 counts of sexual battery of a physically helpless victim. Now, the victim told law enforcement officials that during the follow-up procedure, she remembered inhaling a sedative, which alleviated pain for the procedure along with prescribed medication. Now, the victim says while she was waiting for the doctor to enter the procedure room, a staff member offered the victim a glass of wine. According to the report, the cosmetic facility normally offers patients wine. The victim said she accepted it. Okay, well, I wouldn't think you maybe need to be drinking wine while you're taking sedatives. But hey, what do I know? Now, the victim stated she remembered that she remembered the doctor in the procedure room saying he would see her in a while, and she began to inhale the sedative. Now, the victim said she remembered the doctor closed the blinds in the procedure room and recalled feeling pushed to another office. The victim alleged that the doctor was above her and engaging in sexual intercourse with her. So clearly she wasn't heavily sedated. Now, according to the report, the victim said she did not have the strength to speak or fight back and just closed her eyes, waiting for the assault to end. The victim said she never discussed or gave the doctor consent to have any sexual activity with her, felt impaired, and had no control of her body. Now, the victim said that she left the facility and did not see staff members. Days later, the victim said she discovered a video of the incident with the doctor saved on her cell phone. What? The law enforcement official viewed the video, which showed the victim and the doctor. The official believes the video showed the victim being assaulted by the doctor as non-consensual sexual acts and gestures were observed. Before being taken into custody by law enforcement on Wednesday, DeMayo was allowed to call the property manager of his residence to give law enforcement permission to execute a search warrant. After the calls to the property manager failed, DeMayo called another number. The man on the phone told officials he was DeMayo's attorney. So over the phone, the man advised law enforcement that DeMayo would remain silent and did not have access to the building. Now, during a court hearing on Thursday morning, DeMayo's attorney stated the encounter between the doctor and the victim was consensual, saying this is an incredibly compelling matter. This is what Daniel A. Lurvy, the attorney representing DeMayo, said during the court hearing Thursday, saying that we have overwhelming evidence exonerating the defendant. This goes back several months, as the court can see. It was a consensual 100% encounter. The alleged victim in the case, through her attorneys, the crime victim law firm, demanded $10 million from the doctor. He, of course, refused to pay it. He very recently, right before the victim reported this to the police, filed a lawsuit against her for extortion. That's when she reported to the police. Now, that sounds kind of plausible because, first of all, how would it have gotten in her phone? How would this even be in her phone, downloaded or saved in her phone, if she didn't do it? Okay, I'm questioning her story, but let's continue. So anyway, goes on to say he reported her for extortion. Okay, then his attorney said he has a video of the incident that he said clearly shows the encounter with the doctor and the victim was consensual. This is a shakedown by the alleged victim, Lurvy said during the court hearing. It is outrageous what is going on. Now, when Judge Mindy S. Glazer asked how the victim's cell phone could have been recording while the encounter happened, Lurvy stated that during civil mediation, the victim said the cell phone fell to the ground and accidentally started recording. Now, I don't know if I believe that. Okay, I don't even. Okay, girl, sit down. That sounds suspicious. Now, Miami Police Department officer and public information officer Mike Vega, Miami Police, provided the following statement to a news outlet on Thursday about the video. They say the victim was documenting the procedure on her phone in short and recorded videos. Okay, as she is recording it, she's also taken a gas, which makes her calm down. She had also taken a pill to calm down. So are they saying that she was recording this for whatever reason? She was just recording what was going on, period? Because that's what it sounds like, that she was recording or documenting. Okay, so she was documenting their procedure. Okay, so that makes more sense. If she was already in the process of recording because she was documenting her procedure, maybe the doctor didn't know that's what she was doing or didn't even, didn't know or whatever. And then, so once she calmed down, maybe that's when the phone dropped, I guess, but the doctor didn't see it. I don't know. Anyway, as she records a video, she passes out. The phone falls, and it falls right next to her lap. It falls with the screen facing down, the camera facing up. Oh, so it's capturing everything. Now that sounds plausible. Now the doctor then decides to take advantage of her, and he does sexual acts on her. On Thursday afternoon, Judge Glazer denied bond for DeMayo and ordered DeMayo to house arrest. Okay, in-house arrest. He must wear an electronic monitoring device and not have contact with the victim. Well, I mean, how lucky is that her phone recorded this whole thing? But wait, there's more. There is more because I found another case. That's why I was like, wait a minute. Does this just always happen in Florida? So there were two doctors charged with S crimes involving minors. Okay, I'm not going to get into that one, but that's another case. And this happened in Florida. Okay, in Miami, no less. And then something about trafficking. Hold on, I'll just read a little bit of it. Okay, so 2 doctors charged with S crimes involving minors. Then goes on to say the S crimes accusation. Hold on, pop-ups. S crime accusations, including 2 cases involving children, have led to 3 Florida doctors receiving emergency suspensions this month. Okay, now mind you, what year was this? This was April the 27th of 2026. So this is a new case. Okay, so April the 7th, emergency suspension orders from State Surgeon General Joseph Ladapo came down on Tampa psychiatrist Kwamrul Chowdhury, family medicine doctor, and Malik Hussain, and Delray Beach's Milan Patel. Okay, each doctor has pleaded not guilty in his criminal case. Suspension orders usually are followed by administrative complaints, which start the discipline process, while the complaints often get filed well ahead of any criminal case disposition. Now, the timing can dovetail as professional discipline cases are often proceed even more slowly than criminal justice cases. Okay, this is all crazy. Anyway, with that all being said, it was involving minors. Now, last but not least, I'm going to go to this news clip because there was a Naples doctor who was also accused. And then a third woman came. There was 3 women at least that came and accused him. And there's also another case that I'm not going to get into where, oh, it's the same doctor. Yeah, this is when the first couple of patients came and one of the patients took their life. Okay, they took their own life after he did this to them. So this is just amazing to me that these doctors are doing these things. And then specifically, why so many doctors in Florida? Interesting. Maybe it's all states. I don't know. But I was specifically looking for the Miami doctor due to the TikTok video.
And to have your trust breached in such a fashion, it's just, it's deplorable.
Tonight, another woman has come forward claiming a Naples doctor drugged and raped her during a cosmetic treatment. And now Naples police are encouraging any more victims to come forward if they were sexually assaulted by Dr. Eric Salata. Take a good look at his mugshot here. NBC2's Ryan Arbogast is live outside the doctor's business on 5th Avenue with the latest on the investigation. Ryan?
Kyla, Naples PD has already talked to that woman, now the 3rd woman to accuse Dr. Eric Salata of sexual assault, right here as his doctor's office, the Pura Vida Medical Spa, just off of 5th Avenue South in Naples. Now, the doctor hasn't faced any new charges yet, but that could change thanks to a new investigation.
We want to move as fast as we can through the judicial process. It's heinous allegations. It's serious allegations.
Naples police is not cutting any corners when it comes to the prosecution of Dr. Eric Salata, the owner of the Pura Vida Medical Spa on 5th Avenue South.
This is a gross breach of trust, unfortunately, that sends a shockwave everywhere through the community, especially when you're talking about allegations such as this with
Every one of them should be ashamed of themselves. But let me tell you all something. This has to be a common thing, in my opinion, because if you all remember the movie The Hand Rocked the Cradle, The Hand That Rocked the Cradle, when the husband, I'm not talking about the new version because I haven't seen that one. I'm talking about the one with Rebecca De Mornay from the 90s, because I remember that movie. I know somebody that really happened to. What that doctor did to that woman in that movie, it happened to my friend Diane. And here's the thing. The doctor that did it, his name was Dr. Jan, Jain. He was actually my doctor first. And the only reason he didn't do anything to me, in my opinion, is because I made him bring the nurse in with him. And the reason I made him do that, because, you know, back then in the early 90s, they were not making the doctors have someone come in the room with them. They since have started to do that, specifically if you go to a gynecologist, you know, for pap smears and things of the like, they will have someone to come in the room with the doctor, and this is why. But prior to them doing that, you know, I was at his office one day, and I was pregnant with my oldest son, and I went there for my checkup. He was my OBGYN. Long story short, this was my first time seeing him. Okay, because I had just moved there. Long story short, I go in there, and you know how they tell you to go get undressed and put on the gown or whatever. So as I'm going to do so, I happen to look up and I see him standing off to the side in the dark, peeking at me. And I said, excuse me, could I have privacy, please? Because who in the hell does that? That immediately made me suspicious. He was peeking at me, literally, like in the dark. Because in the office, or the part where you get dressed, where the exam takes place, there was like a long hallway, not really a long hallway, but it was like a hallway that led straight up to the front. And to, I guess, to his office or whatever. But nonetheless, he's standing there, the lights are off, and he's peering at me, and I happen to turn around and see him. Now, had I not turned all the way around, I would not have even known he was doing that, but for whatever reason I did, and I saw him, and it just like made me feel really cringe. And so I said, excuse me, can I have privacy? And then so he walked away. So then, you know how the person comes in, the assistant or tech or whatever comes in to check your vitals. Well, when the lady came in, I told her that I want her in the room when he does my exam. And after that, I never went back to him. I switched over to the Bolnick twins. And anyway, they were much better doctors, even though some years later they did get charged with selling steroids, anabolic steroids on the side. But nonetheless, they were good at gynecology, I'll say. But my friend Diane went to Dr. Jan. She went to Dr. Jan. I didn't even know she was going to him. I would have told her, because I didn't really tell anybody what I saw him, how I saw him looking at me. I didn't really say anything about it. But then my friend Diane calls me and says that this doctor R-worded her. And I'm like, what? She said, yes. She said she jumped up. She said she was getting a pap smear. And you know how they put your legs up, ladies, and they put the blue thing over you or whatever, or the sheet or whatever. And she said she felt him inserting himself. And she said she jumped up from the table and took off running through the office screaming, grape, grape. Yeah. Had a police report and everything. So after that, he was out of there. She took that to court and everything, but it's all crazy. So these doctors, some of them are freaks. And, you know, it reminds me of what my professor told us when I was in college. Remember, I told you guys before, she said that some people, when they're in certain career paths, you have to think about what made them get into that career path. Like the doctors who, the proctologists, the doctors who look up people's butts. Okay. She's like, what would make you get that kind of job? So I just thought about it. You know, some of these doctors who are these doctors who do gynecological work, or who are gynecologists, you know, they might want to look up women's hoo-has all day and try to see what they can get. I guess, I don't know, it's all sick. It's all sick. All I'm saying is be careful. Okay, be careful, because this is all so crazy. And then sedating these women and then doing these things, I find it all interesting. Anywho, with that all being said, if I was going to be a medical doctor, I think the last one I would want to be is a proctologist. But that's just me. Okay, so let's continue. Enough of the BS. Now, one more thing I thought it was interesting to bring to you all. I think I'm going to start sharing this every morning, just so you all can see how the MAGA people are such perverts, many of them. Let's go to the clips. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to start probably doing this every time I see a clips of them, which is almost every darn day on X. Okay, so now look at this. Ken Paxton gave a plea deal to lawyer Adam Hoffman, his friend, for raping a boy. Okay, his son's friend, over 3 years, starting in 3rd grade. Instead of a felony S offender registration, Hoffman only gets 30 days in prison and no registration. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? And you all think that the Epstein victims are going to get justice? This country condones PDF files. This country condones, and you know why? Because many of the men in this country are PDF files, and they look like this. And they look like this, most of them. That's what it is. Okay, that's exactly what it is. Now, here's another story. Florida shocker. Santa Claus volunteer arrested over alleged attempt to meet 13-year-old for sex. Yeah,
Detectives say
please.
68-year-old Thomas Allen Hicks was arrested after investigators say he tried to arrange a sexual encounter with what he believed was a 13-year-old girl. Deputies say Hicks was actually communicating with undercover detectives during a multi-day sting operation.
And in fact, traveled to a location thinking he was going to have sex with a little girl.
Of those arrested, deputies say Hicks's case stands out, not just because of the allegations, but because of his role in the community. He and his wife have portrayed Mr. and Mrs. Santa Claus at major events across the region, including Lakeland's famous holiday parade.
Thousands and thousands of children have sat on this guy's lap, thinking he was Santa Claus, when in fact what he was a child sex predator.
I've reached out to my clients already personally.
A local photographer who worked with Hicks for years during holiday photo sessions says she's now hearing from concerned families who trusted him around their children. Public records also list Hicks as the president of First Alliance Church in Lakeland, and previously at least 2 other churches in the Carolinas.
It's an ugly situation, and you know what? God's in control.
He's messing with kids. It should always be a concern. That's the biggest concern.
And making an example for anyone else that may want to hide behind Santa Claus or the Easter Bunny or any other child event.
Nasty freak. Nasty freak. And here goes another one. Former police officer and school security chief busted with 20 years of child porn. Another man we trusted with our children's safety has been exposed as a cop and school guard who spent 2 decades collecting child sexual abuse material. What a darn shame. Nasty freaks. Pay attention. It's always the usual suspects, mind you. And I'll guarantee you, this is why when white people's children, they teach them that if you get lost, go find a black person. Okay, please pay attention. This is why. This is why, right here.
Security chief and former police officer has been arrested on child pornography charges in Bristol Township. Investigators say they uncovered that David Jane had a history involving child sexual assault material spanning 20 years. Action News reporter Brianna Smith joins us live from Bristol Township tonight with the latest on this investigation. Brianna.
Gray, neighbors say they are shocked and sickened by the allegations and held David Jane to a higher standard. Now they say they're worried about what he'll do next after police say he posted bail. This former Bristol Township police officer and school security chief who was hired to protect children is now facing child pornography charges.
At one time, he was protecting the laws.
Bristol Township police say 63-year-old David Jane was arrested Friday morning at his home on Granite Road in Levittown. Detectives say a tip on Tuesday sparked their investigation. They say evidence shows Jane possessed child sexual assault material for about 20 years.
It's disturbing knowing that he's been doing that for 20 years. Very disturbing.
Police say Jane was employed as an officer from 1989 until 2000. Then he worked as a security guard in the Bristol Township School District until 2023. However, detectives do not believe any students were involved. The district said in a statement they're cooperating with the investigation and, quote, the district has established policies and procedures designed to protect students, and we continuously review and strengthen these measures.
I'm shocked. I'm like gonna tear up. Like, this is a lot.
In Jane's neighborhood, residents are stunned.
He was a nice guy, you know, like friendly. He helped you like shovel your sidewalk like when it snowed.
Now they're concerned about all of the children in the area.
It's a terrible crime against kids. If he did it, he should be prosecuted.
Now, police say Jane is out on $5,000 cash bail. The police chief says he's extremely disappointed and believes Jane is a danger to society. He asked the DA's office to reconsider the bail. We reached out to the DA's office and the judge. We're waiting to hear back. Live in Bristol.
Y'all hear that? A $5,000 bail? Are they serious? This is what I'm talking about right here. They condone this BS. Here goes another MAGA minion, another MAGA PDF file. Tyler E. Senesac of Royal Center, Indiana, was arrested and charged with a level 1 felony for child molestation after sexually abusing and raping a child age of 7. Freak. Indiana Trump supporter, okay? These are Trump's people. Pay attention. All right. So it's just all so sick. And Ashkan is absolutely right. Says anywhere children gather, predators will circle too. Yes, they absolutely will. And they'll get jobs that put them in close proximity to people's children. Or they'll be authoritative figures so that children will listen to them. Like police officers. They'll be camp counselors. Okay? They'll work with Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, and things like that. Santa Claus even. It's all so nefarious. But let's continue. So now let's get into the good stuff let's go in on Trump real quick. Y'all, did y'all happen to see, beloveds, how Trump was so darn rude and cutting all in front of the Queen and all of that stuff? Please tell me y'all saw it. Once in the chat, did y'all see that fool cutting in front of the Queen and the King when they were trying to shake hands? That's right, Alice. It shouldn't be a bail, much less $5,000. Should have been $500, if anything. Reggie says, in my other profession, I was told nerves. Hold on. Chat's moving. I was told nerves work with children or animals. Really? Okay, so now that I've been saying, Bourgeois said jealousy. Trump probably was. Okay, let's go to the footage. And also, Trump's health is of concern again because that rash that we've been seeing on his hand for months, over a year now, that black, ugly rash that he sometimes covers with makeup, it's now on the other hand as well, and even on his neck. It just looks gross. Okay, it looks like he's deteriorating from the inside out. But anyway, let's continue. Let me just pull the clip. Likes up, everyone. Please don't forget to like and share. Here we go.
Anything that resembled an old man, the media would cover it for days. Donald Trump has gotten a pass, but it seems like that pass is coming to an end. This is going to be a story. Between his ankles, his hand, his inability to stay awake, people are going to start questioning his age, and you can bet Donald Trump is going to see it and have the weekend he deserves. If he did anything that resembled an old man, the media would cover it for days. Donald Trump has gotten a pass, but it seems like that pass is deserves.
Visit from King Charles. King Charles looked like a spring chicken compared to Donald Trump, and Charles is like only 2 years younger. I mean, Donald Trump's hands covered in makeup, Donald Trump saying things that raised numerous red flags. Donald Trump was cutting in front of the Queen when she was trying to shake the hands of Trump's cabinet. Trump ran around to shake the hands of the UK delegation and cut off the Queen. It was a very weird thing to watch. Did you remember this? Here, let's play this clip right here.
Now notice not only does he rudely cut in front of Queen Camilla, but also notice how King Charles tries to reach out his hand, and Trump he doesn't even get a chance to, because Trump's right there. And these are Trump's own people, his own administration. So why does he even need to cut in front of them? This is so rude and stupid. It just goes to show that he has no couth, okay? He has no sort of, he just doesn't carry himself in a manner that a president would, okay? And this is why he hates President Obama. But just notice, poor King Charles tries to do it twice to no avail. I'm going to rewind it back just a bit. Now, just watch him. Look at King Charles. Now, look how Camilla's looking at him. She just is as shocked and appalled as I am.
and Donald Trump was like grabbing Melania's butt while he was with King Charles and the Queen. And then there was this moment where Donald Trump like let go of, or Melania lets go of Donald Trump's hand, and just watch this as he like struggles to even like stand up. And then they're doing like weird things with their hands right here when they're together. I mean, there's just nothing normal about any of this interaction. Here, play this clip right here.
He looks like the penguin from Batman in that outfit.
Then when Donald Trump was speaking at the White House, he said that his mother had a crush on Charles, and he wonders what she thinks about Charles now. Donald Trump's mom passed away in the year 2000. Also, Donald Trump's mom was 36 years old when Charles was born. So when exactly was she having these conversations with you, Donald, when you were 2 years old? What was going on here? Anyway, here, play this clip right here.
She really did love the family, but I also remember her saying very clearly, Charles, look, young Charles, he's so cute. It's my mother. My mother had a crush on Charles. Can you believe it? Amazing how, I wonder what she's thinking right now.
So his mom had a crush on Charles, and she's 36 years old when he was born. Okay, that doesn't even sound right. Your mom a PDF file, Trump? I have several questions.
International trade agreement.
Look at him snoozing.
59 days after we stood in this office and President Trump, standing with Albert Bourla from Pfizer, announced the first of the 17 MFN deals, together with our colleagues from the Department of Commerce under Secretary Lutnick's leadership and from the U.S. Trade Representative's office under the leadership of Ambassador Greer.
That's kind of
we
crazy.
negotiated a landmark agreement with the government of the United Kingdom in which they agreed to increase significantly the amount that they spend on branded pharmaceuticals for the first time in 26 years. That work continues with other countries. And third, we will continue our work with our partners in Congress to codify the principles that underpin these most favored nation deals so that these savings for American families and this innovation that is unleashed at the same time persists for decades to come.
At him sitting there sleeping like a darn baby. Okay, I didn't mean to put that clip of him and the king and queen in there twice, but I didn't realize that Midas Touch showed it in his clip too. It's so darn funny. Look at him. But you know what? This is his karma. Because how many times did we hear him going in on Joe Biden talking about Sleepy Joe? Okay, now look at him. Snoozing. Straight up snoozing. And then that part where he woke up and then went right back to sleep. I am so done. Okay, Trump, please sit down somewhere. Or, matter of fact, lay down somewhere. Why don't you? Okay, let's continue. Now, I want to go to something that I thought was so interesting. If you all didn't see it, hold on. Let me pull this up. Scott Jennings clearly lost it on CNN. I can't wait to get to the footage, but first let me show you all this. So this guy pointed out that Trump has what appears to be a black eye. And he's a doctor, and he says it looks like he may have fallen. Okay, I just want you all to pay attention. I'm going to go to the clip. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Thank you in advance. I
Got into
am
a
done.
fist fight with the truth last night and lost. It's a nice little shiner that looks like they've tried to cover up with makeup. I'm a PT with a doctorate in my field and 14 years experience working in home health.
Hold on. Why did he say Trump got into a fist fight with the truth and lost?
Care treating geriatric patients who end up with random ass swelling and bruising at times. So it could be a couple of explanations for this weird bump on his face. Number one, he got in a fist fight. God, I hope that's what it is. Maybe one of the military commanders finally has had enough of his bullshit and said, you know what? I just need to kick your ass. Oh God, please let that be the case. Number two, and I've seen this quite a bit with my own patients who have a high risk of falling. He has fallen and struck his face on something, and they have covered up all of that bruising with makeup. Now, his face has always been covered in makeup for years now, but he also has been covering both of his hands to hide bruising from IV treatments and probably the use of blood thinners. And number three, it could be really severe, what we call periorbital edema, which often accompanies congestive heart failure. Seeing it jut out laterally that far is pretty out of the ordinary. My guess is he's actually got a bruise on his face from being struck by something or from falling. Now, you all need to know, anybody who takes blood thinners and has a fall, there is a high risk of internal bleeding or even, dare I say it, a fatal injury. It's basically standard procedure for any patient that's taking an anticoagulant medication to be sent to the ER to be scanned for internal bleeding, regardless of if it looks like they were injured in a fall or not. Gosh, that'd be a shame if he had a fall that he didn't recover from. Hopefully it was an Epstein survivor saying, where the fuck are the rest of those files? He has now been in office and been in the land of the living for 2 full days of borrowed time.
He said, who did he borrow? He said, who did he borrow the time from? Satan. Okay. And now, and then that nasty bruise on his hand. Okay. So now, without further ado, let's go to the clip where Trump was talking about that man's ears. Did y'all hear it? Now, this man has some huge ears. And then Trump, and right in front of everybody. But see, here's the thing. They always say, that people are talking about Trump and people are going in on Trump, and then Trump gets upset with Jimmy Kimmel for cracking jokes, but it's okay for him to mock disabled people. It's okay for him to call journalists Miss Piggy when he gets mad or say someone's unattractive. Okay, it's okay for him to do all of that and to pick on this man's huge ears. Okay, but we can't clown him. Oh, I'm going to clown you. I'm going to clown you every day, all day, and twice on Sundays. Okay, you can rest assured. Now, that being said, listen to this clip.
Are you considering relocating NASA's headquarters out of D.C. once the lease is up? States like Texas, Ohio, and Florida.
Well, the best man to tell you that is the man standing right over here. You heard that question? With those beautiful ears of yours? He's got great hearing, he's got super hearing.
Trick of the trade, sir.
Are you considering relocating NASA's headquarters out of D.C. once the lease?
Now, that's a darn shame. Y'all saw that? Now, he knows he was wrong for that. That man has ears like Dumbo. And then Trump says his beautiful ears, I bet he can hear or something. My goodness, hold on. Let me go back to it real quick.
Are you considering relocating NASA's headquarters out of D.C. once the lease is up? States like Texas, Ohio, and Florida.
Well, the best man to tell you that is the man standing right over here. You heard that question? With those beautiful ears of yours? He's got great hearing, he's got super hearing.
Trick of the trade, sir.
Yeah, that's a darn shame. And then the caption on there said, we're living in a live episode of The Office. Ha! I am done. But hold on. Here's a clip that isn't so funny. Okay, and we're going to watch the entire clip on CNN. Now, I happened to see this morning, and y'all know I can't stand Scott Jennings. He tries to act as though he's so smug, right? But he clearly lost it because Adam Mockler, who's half his age, okay, probably even more than half his age. But this young man was spitting the facts And Jennings couldn't deny it. He was stuck. He couldn't answer. So what does he do? He gets mad, and he does what people always do when they can't beat you in a debate. They get upset and start to insult you, start to call you names. They get angry. And that's what he did. Let's go to this brief clip because I like what the young man said at the end. But then we're going to go to the full-on clip.
Scott Jennings, the token Republican on CNN, just completely lost his composure and yelled, "Get your hands out of my effing face," to progressive Adam Mockler during a live TV debate on CNN. Look at this right here.
We all know that Scott Jennings is more than happy to defend a war with a country that starts with the letters IRA that we are currently failing, that is going to put us trillions and trillions of dollars more in debt. I was only a few years old while you were in the administration defending prior endless wars. Now this war is failing.
8 weeks is endless to you?
Okay, you said it was going to be 4 to 6 weeks.
You have the attention span of a gnat? Is that what you
I
have?
debated you on TV 4 to 6 weeks ago, and you said we were weeks away from it. Now you're making condescending remarks because you can't defend the fact that this war is not going your way. Wait, one more time.
Not going
name one political concession. Name one political concession.
Hey, whoa, honestly, I'm not going to have this guy's name on my face.
Everybody, hang tight,
Honestly.
okay? No, everybody calm down, okay?
Y'all heard that? I find it also interesting. He got that upset. He got that upset. Did y'all hear it? Oh, darn it. I didn't mean to take it off. I forgot to play the part where the guy went in on him at the end.
Scott Jennings, the token Republican on CNN, just completely lost his composure and yelled, "Get your hands out of my effing face," to progressive Adam Mockler during a live TV debate on CNN. Look at this right here.
We all know that Scott Jennings is more than happy to defend a war with a country that starts with the letters IRA that we are currently failing, that is going to put us trillions and trillions of dollars more in debt. I was only a few years old while you were in the administration defending prior endless wars. Now this war is failing.
8 weeks is endless to you?
Okay, you said it was going to be 4 to 6 weeks.
You have the attention span of a gnat? Is that what you
I
have?
debated you on TV 4 to 6 weeks ago, and you said we were weeks away from it. Now you're making condescending remarks because you can't defend the fact that this war is not going your way. Wait, one more time.
Not going
Name one political concession. Name one political concession.
Hey, whoa,
Honestly, I'm not going to have this guy's name on my face.
Everybody, hang tight,
Honestly.
okay? No, everybody calm down, okay? We're having a debate. You can respond to the points that he's making.
Can you name a political concession that we've got?
We're a flashback to the...
Scott Jennings is a joke. He's a joke. This is a very low IQ individual we're dealing with who lost his temper just now to a person half his age because Jennings has been exposed time and time again for being for endless wars and for the Epstein class. He should never be on live TV again, period.
Okay, exactly. Okay, what an idiot. Please pay attention. He got that mad. And here's the funny part. The young man's hand was nowhere near his face. Okay, Adam's hand was nowhere near his face. He just got mad. And also, please pay attention to how he immediately starts insulting Adam, saying, "Oh, you have the attention span of a gnat." That's what people tend to do when they cannot out-debate you. They can't debunk what you're saying when you're spitting facts, and they have none. That's exactly what it is. Misconstrued said embarrassing. Absolutely. He should be with his old arse going in on the youngster. But let's go to the full-on clip. Okay, why are Trump and Keg's breath claiming the Iran war is popular? And you all may also remember that when Adam brought up that he debated Jennings 4 weeks ago, we watched that debate too. Okay, and Adam is very smart for his age, and I love it when he goes in on Jennings, because how are you sitting here getting told off, okay, and you're just getting handed your arse, okay, by someone at his age? Please sit down somewhere. As long as he's been in politics, he does have a low IQ as far as I'm concerned, but he wants to act so smug and arrogant, and these idiot MAGA freaks, they love him.
National law. Who's enforcing international law?
Who is the aggressor here?
Us. We are the aggressor.
Okay. Can you name a single political concession we've gotten from them? Anything at all?
Or are you talking to
any political concession? Because you can't name one.
So here's what we're doing.
No political concessions.
When you get up at past your bedtime, you get hyper. Here's the deal.
We are.
You call piracy in like a.
Pay attention to how right there he tried to throw a jab. When you stay up past your bedtime, you get hyper. Okay, enough with the jokes. Why don't you talk serious? Okay, Ashkan said they immediately go to ad hominem. Yes, that's what they do. That's exactly what they do. He needs to sit down somewhere. making a fool of himself.
If words don't have any meaning, but like we have sanctions against these vessels, and
Name one political concession. Name one political concession.
Good evening. I'm Abby Phillip in New York. Tonight, a new question. Just how popular is this war with Iran? President Trump says that the war with Iran could take days at first if he wanted to, but then he said it would be weeks. And now he says that now that it's carried into its third month, despite higher gas prices at home and plummeting polls at home as well, Pete Hegseth is saying that America is right behind the president.
When I talk to Americans, and especially when I talk to the troops, they are grateful for a president who has the courage to take on this threat after 47 years of what Iran has done, targeting and killing Americans.
What I'm concerned about is we are not safer. And I would just like to know why you have not sought the support of the American people. And 3 out of 5 Americans are against this war today.
I believe we do have the support of the American people, and we have briefed regularly what this mission looks like and why it's critically important that we undertake it.
You don't care whether
When the
American people support this war.
the American people are quite smart. They understand and see through spin. They know that a regime that says death to America, that seeks nuclear weapons and the ability to deliver. Did they lie about the range of their missiles?
Yeah, Pete Hegseth wasn't acting macho. He was playing a macho person on TV. He is not actually macho. We are dealing with a war that is failing on a daily basis as Donald Trump has taken his
machismo.
Because he was performing. It was a performance for
He's
Donald
the expert.
Trump.
Geraldo needs to shut the hell up with that big arse head and that old played out mustache from 1882. Okay, and his hair looks like a wig. Okay, but at the end of the day, he just needs to be quiet. Yes, that's him, Ashkan. That's him, unfortunately. Look at him. I haven't liked him since that time he tried to say it was Trayvon Martin's fault for wearing a darn hoodie. Though it was raining outside, mind you. Okay, piece of crap. He needs to just sit down somewhere and shut the hell up.
Yeah, I was wondering.
Donald Trump.
You're out there pumping up.
Donald Trump is very impressive. He's taken his 2 largest campaign promises, no new wars and lower prices, ending inflation, and he's messed both of them up. He started a new war that spiked inflation, and now this war is actively failing. An interesting statistic is that Americans have spent collectively $23 billion extra dollars on the gas pump, and that's money that could have gone towards daycare, towards childcare. We'll sit here and you'll laugh at Americans spending money, but the reality is we are failing this war. The purpose of a war is to extract political concessions from the enemy. Can you name a single political concession we've gotten from them? Anything at all?
Are you talking to
any political concession? Because you can't name one.
So here's what we're doing.
No political concessions.
When you get up past your bedtime, you get hyper. Here's the deal. We have a clear issue here.
You're shaking, bro.
We have a clear issue here. No nuclear weapons for the largest state sponsor of terrorism in the world. Period. Full stop. The president believes, and he may be right. I spoke to a retired Rear Admiral today, Mark Montgomery, who's at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. They think the blockade is actually more effective than the military campaign. And a little patience on the blockade here, where we cripple the Iranian economy, where we kill their currency, which is happening as we speak, where we put pressure on China because they need to get their oil flowing again. A little bit of patience right here, not bombs, but patience on a naval blockade could get the outcome you want, which is no nuclear weapons for the largest state sponsor of terror.
You've been saying this for 8 weeks, and we are now past the 4 to 6 week deadline. Where is the enriched uranium right now?
It's under rubble.
Where is it right now? In the United States or Iran? Iran still has the enriched uranium. They still have the scientists scattered across their country, and they have all of the blueprints in the cloud. You can sit there and act confused, but you can't name a single political concession
It's
that
not
we've
over
gotten from
yet.
Iran.
It's not over yet.
Okay, but also on that fact, why are we talking about the strategy of this? This isn't a.
You know, I really think that Diane said you have a great memory, Queen. Thank you, beloved. Listen, I really think that Adam should run for president someday. Okay, he should run for president, but I definitely see him at least in Congress.
Legal war. This is terrorism. We are turning our military into pirates. We are seizing civilian vessels. Additionally,
Sanctioned Iranian vessels that have gone through a DOJ process.
we are
You
This
can call
just
piracy
happened
in like
last week.
if words don't have any meaning, but like we have sanctions against these vessels, and
We are
the
just
EU has
making
sanctions against these vessels. In some
random
cases,
stuff
the
up.
UN has sanctions.
But one of the most egregious aspects of this is the white Christian nationalist twist that Pete Hegseth has added onto this, saying that this conflict that we started, that we have sacrificed our own service members for, is ordained by God, is bombing a school full of schoolgirls ordained by God. Is our prices going up and us not being able to afford an ambulance, we call an Uber instead? Is that ordained by God?
In 1983, I was in Beirut when the Marine Corps barracks was blown up by a suicide bomber sponsored by the Iranians.
It's not 1983,
230
though.
Marines died.
That's
First of all, Geraldo, okay, it's not 1983, sir. We're in 2026. Why are you bringing up old BS? Okay, why are you bringing up old BS? Those people who did that have nothing to do with this regime. Please sit down somewhere. Let's continue.
awful. That's terrible. But that is not. It's
They
not
also took out
1983.
a couple of dozen at the U.S. Embassy.
Geraldo, we
downtown
murdered an
Beirut.
entire
No, I mean,
school
but
of children.
You can't make
two of them.
You can't make them.
I'm going to tell you why he sounds like a whole darn idiot, because he's bringing up an excuse to justify the war on Iran, and he's bringing up something from 1983, but what he won't bring up is the incident from 1967 with the SS Liberty. Okay, and when that was bombed by the same people that they're now fighting this BS proxy war for. How about that, Geraldo? Bring that up. No, you won't.
Suddenly a victim.
Okay, the real question is, what have we gotten?
I actually think the school children are victims. I think the civilians that are dead are victims.
Yeah, I do. But hold on. I do think, look, just to be clear, I mean, obviously, Marines being killed is terrible. School children being killed is terrible. But there's a big difference between Iran willfully bombing, U.S. military targets, and the United States bombing a school and then not acknowledging it, which is its own separate problem. But the school children are civilians. They're civilians point blank. They should never be targeted. We are, according to some people, already at the 60-day mark.
Mm-hmm.
Notice how quiet Geraldo got after she said there was a difference. And then he's like, oh, that's terrible, under his breath. Shut your damn mouth, because you don't even know what you're talking about, trying to bring up old stuff. Sit down somewhere, okay? Why is he even on the panel? That's what I'd like to know. Okay, are they trying to still keep his old arse relevant? Because nobody cares what he has to say.
Of this war. And technically, they're supposed to come to Congress on it. Pete Hegseth was questioned about this today. Listen to this.
Are you looking to sell your house as is without the hassle of costly repairs or?
The War Powers Resolution specifies that a war initiated by a president without congressional approval must be concluded within 60 days.
Ultimately, I would defer to the White House and White House counsel on that. However, we are in a ceasefire right now, which our understanding means the 60-day clock pauses or stops in a ceasefire. They're not in.
Yeah.
It's our understanding, just so you know.
Okay, well, I do not believe the statute would support that.
I mean, that was essentially how the Obama administration interpreted the statute.
And Republicans disagreed with it at the time.
100%. I think it would be cleaner.
So just to be clear,
it'd be a good act of constitutional hygiene, and it's not you need to conclude within 60 days. You need to conclude or have authorization from Congress within.
The bottom line is they sat there and talked trash about Obama. Now they want to quote Obama or bring up what he did as to say, this is okay that we're doing it. The hypocrisy of it all. Okay? The hypocrisy of it all. And look at him sitting up there looking like fake Jesus. But let's continue.
In 60 days.
Exactly. So they could come to Congress and get authorization. Why not?
Or they could challenge the statute, which, as somebody who has either sponsored legislation to repeal or reform every extant authorization for the use of military force and to reform war powers more broadly, I also have to confess the War Powers Act of 1974, the constitutional underpinnings of that are shaky. It may not hold up.
Maybe so, but it's the law of the land, and it has not been.
Congress has the power of the purse, and this is the reality: is that if Congress continues to authorize the Department of War, if they continue to pass the National Defense Appropriations Act, they continue to do that. That will
They're
be
not going to shoot
tacit
down the
consent.
Defense Act on the basis of a war that Donald
But
Trump
also,
is starting. Why would we shoot down all of our
the
defense?
National Defense
That's
Act.
different than
The National
Defense.
Defense Act comes up once a year. I think it's probably this year. It's usually toward the end of the year.
They also are requesting a supplemental.
They're requesting a supplemental, but they haven't actually done that fully yet. And I do think it raises the question, do they just get to pause this thing whenever they feel like it, even though there is an active blockade? And a blockade involves the U.S. military threatening with force that if any
act of war.
Yeah, it is considered an act of war. So how does that not count?
I think that interpretation, however, is subject to reasonable acceptance and interpretation. If indeed there is a ceasefire, don't you want to encourage the ceasefire? Don't you want to encourage this peace?
Yeah, but there's also a naval blockade, which is by definition not a ceasefire.
But also,
we're still in war.
we're talking legalities when it comes to war powers and all this. This is bird law, right? It is not governed by reason. You know, you can't get. No, it's always something.
What do you mean?
Fans here.
He said it's bird law, not covered by reason. Okay, please pay attention. See, here's the thing. It's a whole load of BS is what it is, because in that statute, okay, in the War Powers Resolution, it does not explicitly state that a ceasefire pauses the 60-day clock. It does not say that. There is no pause language, okay, none whatsoever that specifies anything about that. So what they're doing is just making up BS. Because what they're doing is they're saying, well, it doesn't say it, but it also doesn't not say it. That's the logic they're trying to go by. That it doesn't say it, but it also doesn't not say it. So basically trying to imply that it's left up to interpretation, but there's nothing to interpret. It doesn't say it at all. Okay, it doesn't say it at all. It simply says that they have 60 days. Okay, they have they have 60 days to get approval for Congress, 60 calendar days. The law is designed to automatically require the withdrawal of forces if Congress hasn't authorized the action within those 60 days. Now, unless the president certifies a 30-day extension specifically for safe withdrawal, which has not been done. Okay, so that all being said, Trump and his administration are just full of BS. But let's continue.
Can
I just take it back? Wait. What do you mean by bird law?
I mean that when we try to apply like normal rhetoric, normal logic, normal dictionary definitions,
as we do in a democracy. Like we're not Iran. We don't get to just like ignore the law.
We're also ignoring the international legal repercussions,
right? If we're talking about that, what international legal repercussions?
This is a war of aggression.
What is international law? Who's enforcing international law?
Who is the aggressor here?
Us. We are the aggressor.
Against
we launched
Iran?
this war. Yes.
Okay.
Just because Iran exists.
Did all of U.S. history exist before the last 8 weeks to you, or just
it started on February 28th?
Listen, we all know.
I mean, honestly, they have been at war with us for 47
We all
years.
know that Scott Jennings.
And this is the go-to lie that they love to tell, that Iran's been at war with them for 47 years. Now, if that's the logic he wants to use, then Iran could also say the U.S. has been at war with them for 47 years, because we already know how the whole beef started. Okay, we already know how the whole beef started from 1979 with the revolution, when they put their own person of choice in power and removed the Shah of Iran. So that being said, if that's what he's talking about, if that's his go-to move, then Iran could say the same thing. They have not been in a war with us for 47 years. They have been minding their own damn business. Okay, period. And the thing is, each week, it seems that the reason for this war continues to change. Okay, regime change. Okay, that's what they'll say. And then they'll say to ensure that the most terrorist country doesn't get any nuclear missiles. But Trump said he obliterated it back in June when they had the 12 days war. Okay, now here we go again with the BS. So it's nothing but lies, and this is just a war of will. There was never a good logical reason for the U.S. to be involved in this war. Now, if Satan Yahoo wanted to engage them, then they should have let him do it. Okay, but he couldn't do it. He needed backup. All right, now he has the U.S. fighting his proxy war as he continues to cause mayhem and destruction all across the Middle East.
Jennings is more than happy to defend a war with a country that starts with the letters IRA that we are currently failing, that is going to put us trillions and trillions of dollars more in debt. I was only a few years old while you were in the administration defending prior endless wars. Now this war is failing.
8 weeks is endless to you?
Okay, you said it was going to be 4 to 6 weeks.
You have the attention span of a gnat?
Homie, I debated you on TV 4 to 6 weeks ago, and you said we were weeks away from it. Now you're making condescending remarks because you can't defend the fact that this war is not going your way. Wait, one more time.
Not going your way.
Name one political
Get your
concession.
fucking hand out of my
Name
face.
one political concession.
Guys,
Honestly, I'm not
excuse me.
going to
Hold
have
on.
this guy's
Everybody,
hand in my face.
everybody, hang tight.
Honestly.
Okay. No, everybody, calm down. Okay. We're having a debate. You can respond to the points that he's making.
Can you name a political concession that we've got?
We had a flashback to the war.
Now, I want you all to pay attention and just think about how this would have gone over had there been a black person that did that in his face. Okay, but you know, they'll downplay it because it's Scott Jennings. At the end of the day, he's a whole darn thug. Okay, raising your hand to him. He didn't even have his hand in your face, fool. You're just mad because you can't debunk what he's saying. You're just mad because you have no answers. Because you look like the clown that you are. And in fact, the entire Trump administration is full of clowns, okay? Every time I see them together, I think of a circus. Please pay attention. But let's let him continue because he's getting red for filth.
Skinheads had in my studio.
I would be mad if I had to defend war too. I would be mad if I had to defend war.
Scott, you can respond.
We have a very simple. We have a very simple goal: to keep terrorists and a terrorist regime from having a nuclear weapon that can threaten the United States, our interests in the region, our allies in Europe, anybody else
So
in
you
the
can't
world.
answer the question. Thank you. I would get mad too.
All right, we're going to leave it there, guys.
Okay, Adam said if you can't answer the question, I would get mad too. Yeah, exactly. That's why he's mad. Like, sit down somewhere. Now, let's go to this clip. Let's go to this clip where this woman asked him, CNN anchor asked him about racism.
This is a congressionally passed law. It's 60 years old. It's implementing a constitutional amendment, the Voting Rights Act. The problem that with your description here is that you are presuming that we do not still have instances where states will choose to basically eliminate the voice of Black communities or Latino communities.
How is it eliminating it?
By lumping
How is it
by
eliminating it?
basically
Are they preventing them from voting?
Yes, because what they do.
They are?
Yeah, hold on. Let me just say, if you take a district and you basically say it was going to be 80% Black district, and then you take that entire district and give 10% to everyone else, there's the voice of the Black community is in a sense.
But you're assuming they would all vote.
The real issue here is
Scott, listen, as somebody who's lived this in Florida, Florida, at one point was governed by a lot of good old boys who didn't want Cubans elected, who tried to dilute that vote, despite the fact that it was Republican. If it hadn't been for efforts like this, I remember times in Florida. I remember the signs in Florida: no blacks, no dogs, no Cubans.
That's a decision.
Right. Hold on. No, it was as it was in my lifetime. It was in my lifetime.
When? Was that yesterday or was that like 50 years ago?
It was about 40 years ago, 30 years ago.
Did you just decide?
You think there's no racism?
I'm sorry, but Scott Jennings, you do not get to decide that racism is over today.
Now, I want you all to pay attention to the hypocrisy of Scott Jennings. He asked her, when was that? Was that yesterday? It was 40 years ago. But didn't he just say on the other CNN panel that Iran has been coming after the U.S. they've been warring with us for 47 years. He's bringing up stuff that's 40-something years old. Okay, 40 plus years old. But now he wants to point out what she's doing. Okay, please pay attention to the BS and the blatant hypocrisy.
The people have. I mean,
No, they haven't.
No. The American people have decided.
Hold on a second. It is not true that the people have decided there is not racism. Let us please not say that, because that's just, it's incorrect. It is incorrect, Scott. It's not true.
But how is it?
As a member of the Black community, I'm telling you,
she's arguing that Congress is somehow. Are you saying our our congressional districts are inherently racist today?
No, I'm sorry. The Voting Rights Act was passed by Congress. It's up to Congress to determine whether it should be amended or not. This.
Listen, this is all. Let me tell you all something. This is all just a load of BS. Scott Jennings knows good and darn well that it's all racist. He knows that. He knows it. Now, he's not going to admit it. And then he wants to sit there and act like, oh, that was 40 years ago, as if racism has gone anywhere. Racism is still alive, kicking, and thriving at the end of the day. And he knows this, and that is the reason for them to gut the Voting Rights Act, like I reported to you all on yesterday. But hold on for just a second, beloveds. Let me just pull this up and send it to my email real quick. Okay? I mean, at the end of the day, don't sit here and play crazy. And you know, he always tries to act as though he looks at people like they're crazy, as if he can't figure out why somebody's doing whatever or why somebody's saying certain things. You know, just like Adam told him in the last clip. He told him, you can sit there and look confused, as if he doesn't know what's going on. You know exactly what's going on, and you know it makes no sense other than blatant nefariousness. Okay? And the point is, when she says, you know, in her lifetime, that means that it hasn't actually been that long ago. And quite frankly, this country still is permeated with racism and hate. And so to deny that is just obtuse as far as I'm concerned. Okay, now let's go to this next clip. Like stuff, everyone, please like and share. Before we go to that clip, actually, I'm going to pull up my TikTok that I did on yesterday about this whole thing, the Voting Rights Act. Please sit down somewhere. I absolutely cannot with him. Everyone, I'm Dr. Ahmadiyyah Shakur. So the Supreme Court just literally took a wrecking ball to the Voting Rights Act that was signed into law by President Lyndon B. Johnson August the 5th of 1965. Okay, and this was after what they call Bloody Sunday, the March on Selma. All right, let's get into it. The Voting Rights Act, or VRA, is a landmark piece of federal legislation designed to enforce the 15th Amendment and eliminate discriminatory voting practices, such as literacy tests and poll taxes, which were largely used in the South to disenfranchise Black voters. Now, prompted by violence against activists in Selma, Alabama, the act established federal oversight for voter registration and required preclearance for changes to voting laws in covered jurisdictions. Okay, please pay attention. Now, the Voting Rights Act is widely credited with significantly increasing African-American voter registration and turnout in the South, immediately changing the landscape of American democracy. It has been renewed and strengthened by Congress several times, mind you, okay, notably in 1970, 1975, 1982, and in 2006, expanding protections to language minority groups. Okay, so now, like I said, they're trying to take us back to Jim Crow, because what they're doing is basically gutting the part that has long been labeled as the crown jewel, the part that gives us protections, okay, and keeps us from being discriminated against, okay, during your voting process. Please pay attention. Now, in the case of Shelby County versus Holder in 2013, the Supreme Court struck down the formula used to determine which jurisdictions were subject to Section 5 preclearance, rendering that part of the act inoperative until Congress establishes a new formula. But now with the current status, okay, with the reduction of preclearance in Section 2 has become the primary tool for legal challenges against discriminatory voting practices, although its effectiveness has been a focus of ongoing litigation. So the act was considered the crown jewel of the civil rights era, like I said, crucial for protecting the voting rights of marginalized communities. So with this ruling by the Supreme Court, 6-3, it was a 6-3 decision on April the 29th, okay, in Louisiana versus Calais, significantly weakened the Voting Rights Act, okay, by narrowing the application of Section 2, making it much harder to challenge discriminatory redistricting maps. Okay, this ruling follows a decade-long trend of judicial rollbacks, effectively concluding that many observers describe as the demolition of the landmark civil rights law. So the ruling struck down a black majority district in Louisiana, declaring it as unconstitutional gerrymander. Now, this signals that states have far greater latitude to draw maps that dilute minority voting power as long as they can provide a race-neutral justification. So analysts at Politico and Fair Right Action estimate that the Democrats could lose nearly 20 House seats nationally as Republican-led states eliminate majority-minority districts. Now, mind you, they're doing this right before the 2026 midterms. So while the decision was released just ahead of the 2026 midterms, its immediate impact on this cycle's map may be limited in some states where filing deadlines and primaries have already passed. The 2026 ruling is the final step in a series of decisions that have dismantled the Voting Rights Act core protections. Okay, building on Shelby County versus Holder in 2013, the 2026 ruling further removes federal constraints on how states manage their election laws, raising the bar for discrimination. Now, the court now requires plaintiffs to prove discriminatory intent rather than just discriminatory impact. You see, this high legal standard makes it effectively impossible for minority communities to successfully challenge unfair voting rules or redistricting. Okay, please pay attention. Now, mind you, the signing of this act was prompted by violence against activists in Selma, Alabama. Okay, and it was actually established for federal oversight of voter registration. And with that all being said, you know, our ancestors fought for this. Some of them died for this. Okay. And there were other people, white people as well, who fought for this and died for this. Okay. And so for them to do this is just a slap in the face. But this just goes to show that this country is rooted in racism. It always has been, and it continues to be so. Okay. Please pay attention. Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. No, just a whole load of BS, okay? They literally took a wrecking ball, okay, into the Voting Rights Act. They know exactly what they're doing, devils. Okay, now let's continue. I'm going to go to another clip from MS Now when they're discussing this. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance.
I'm trying to keep myself calm here, Nicole.
Why?
Because I'm really upset.
That's okay.
You get tired of people playing fast and loose with your dead.
Mm-hmm.
And it was triggered by Obama. You know how many dead people are in the bottom of rivers in Mississippi because they tried to vote?
Mm-hmm.
How many dead folk, right? Folk who have wounds because of this. And here we are in this moment in the country's history, and we have to deal with this again. You see what I mean? So you think about the glorious revolution, our glorious revolution that produced the Constitution, the courts restrained it, limited. Dred Scott doesn't extend to us. You think about the Civil War, left 600,000 plus dead. Get the Reconstruction Amendments. We finally look like we're going to try to become a democracy. What do we get? The courts. Slaughterhouse cases. Reduces it. Rolls it back. And now here we are. We've only been a democracy since 1965. Barely then. 15 years later, Reagan is elected, Mobile decision happens, right? Roberts begins his career right there. And so here we are. It's exhausting. And so, yes, we have to get together. Yes, we have to mobilize. Yes, we have to organize. But these people play fast and loose with our dead. They play fast and loose with our sacrifices. They think they own freedom. They can give it to us and take it away whenever they want. And they think we're just supposed to sit here and take this.
Exactly.
Right? So first of all, I'm just going to express my rage at this decision. And then the second thing we need to do, of course, is to get about the hard work of trying to salvage this democracy as we've done since the moment we've been on these shores.
Where does the first part of it end and the second part begin?
The first part of it ends when we admit, honestly, that racism still occupies the throne of this country.
Exactly.
There's nothing about our current days that should lead us to believe that we are in a post-racial world. There's nothing about our days. And then once we admit that, admit of our sins, then perhaps we open up a future for us to be otherwise. But the noble lie isn't noble at all. Racism still occupies the throne of this country. And that's clear to me.
He sounds very distraught. He sounds very distraught, and I feel bad for him. I feel bad for him. At the end of the day, listen, racism makes some people sad and hurt. It makes me angry. Okay, it makes me angry as hell. And you know, in the Bible, it says, surely oppression maketh a wise man mad. And so for the white folk who like to say angry black men or angry black women, well, we have all rights to be angry as far as I'm concerned. We have all rights to be angry as far as I'm concerned. Okay, but the thing is, we have a reason to be angry and they don't. But yet and still, they have all these hate groups, these anti-black hate groups. What the hell are they mad for? The world is literally their oyster. Okay, we're stuck out here like squirrels trying to get a nut. Okay, so I just have to ask myself, why the hell are they so mad? Okay, please pay attention. But let's continue. Here's a report, an update on Cole Allen, the would-be shooter at Trump's staged performance, in my opinion.
The man accused of attempting to assassinate the president at the White House Correspondents' Center, he's going to stay behind bars as he awaits trial. That's what was decided in court on Thursday here at the D.C. District Courthouse. That's where all of his proceedings are going to be. But this was a very odd hearing. We didn't actually know if Cole Allen was going to challenge the Justice Department's request, their demand that he stay behind bars. They've been arguing that this is somebody who wanted to commit extreme political violence. But over the past 24 hours, his defense team was having a hard time talking to him. And they also tried to argue he should be released pending trial. He's a family man, a Christian, someone with a good job, someone who has a lot of higher education degrees, a mechanical engineer. But then when we got into the courtroom at about 11 a.m., Cole Allen said, I concede, it's fine. We're not going to have the full hearing. A little odd, though, that the Justice Department still stood before the judge and said, let us give more evidence, put it out in court. And the judge said that is a truly unusual, unprecedented request. They're not going to do that today, but there's many more hearings to come.
The judge probably knows it was stage 2. I'm trying to figure out why Ashkan is shouting out too short. I am so done. Okay, let's continue. Not too short. Okay, now that being said, Trump drops Casey Means for Surgeon General. Okay, then nominates former Fox News contributor. He hadn't learned his lesson from Kegs, bruh? Oh, okay. Okay, because you said I'm just a squirrel trying to get a nut. Okay, I got you. I got you. That's hilarious. I actually met Too Short at a club one night. I was standing in front of his car, and he told me to check and see if the door was locked. Like I was going to steal it. Okay, now with that all being said, yeah, so he has dropped Casey Means as the Surgeon General pick, but now wants to nominate a former Fox News contributor. So clearly he hadn't learned his lesson. Okay, clearly he has not learned his lesson. All right, please pay attention. Now, I am so done. Okay, I'm still laughing at Ashkan. Okay, so let's go to the clip. This is all crazy. I mean, he would rather hire somebody who's not qualified again, clearly.
Trump is withdrawing Casey Means, a wellness influencer without an active medical license, withdrawing her nomination for Surgeon General. MS Now's Kayla Gardner is following this.
You know, and she wasn't qualified either? Where the hell does he find these people?
For us, tell us more, Kayla.
Chris, President Trump just announced that he is nominating Dr. Nicole Saphier to be the next Surgeon General of the United States. I'm going to read some of you this True Social post that he just shared. It says, Nicole is a star physician who has spent her career guiding women facing breast cancer through their diagnosis and treatment while tirelessly advocating to increase early cancer detection and prevention. And as you mentioned, this comes after Senator Bill Cassidy had opposed the previous nomination of Casey Means over her concerns about vaccines and questioning of vaccine safety, really pushing some of those debunked conspiracy theories that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. also pushed before assuming his position at DHS. And this really seems part of a broader effort by the administration ahead of the midterms to really shift that so-called MAHA messaging, and also simply to get someone who is confirmable. It's also notable that Dr. Sapphire is a contributor to Fox News, and we've seen several members of the president's cabinet come from Fox News. The president has talked about how he liked to see cabinet members who are, quote, central casting, and she was a contributor to both Fox News and Fox Business, speaking specifically about medical issues.
Okay, so he loves to pick people from Fox News. This is how he finds his loyalists. Okay, he loves the people that he finds on Fox News. Now, they go on to say that President Trump withdrew the nomination for Dr. Casey Means for Surgeon General following stalled Senate confirmation, replacing her with Dr. Nicole Sapphire. Means a former Stanford-trained surgeon turned functional medicine advocate faced scrutiny over her vaccine stances and inactive medical license. Her license isn't even active. She remains a key figure in the Make America Healthy Again movement. Okay. Means nomination stalled due to a lack of support from the Senate with concerns raised. Okay, so they didn't like the fact that she's not for the venom. Because they clearly want us to keep getting that, don't they? But now let's go to this next report. One of the biggest fraudsters in history, okay? I want you all to pay attention. One of the biggest fraudsters in history is now pardoned thanks to Trump. Okay, let's get into it. Like some, everyone, please don't forget to like and share. This is all nefarious.
Fraudsters in history is making a comeback thanks to Donald Trump. And now he wants you to trust him with your money. Please watch and share so that we can make sure nobody gets scammed again. I'm Liz Oyer, the former pardon attorney for the Department of Justice. Remember Trevor Milton? He was the founder of Nikola, a company that was supposed to build the world's first electric-powered semi-truck, but the whole thing turned out to be a sham. The company released a video that claimed to be a working prototype of the truck driving along a desert highway, but later they admitted that they actually towed the truck to the top of a hill and then filmed it rolling down. Milton became a billionaire even though he never produced a working product. Meanwhile, his investors lost nearly $700 million. Thousands of people lost their retirement savings. Milton was convicted of fraud and sentenced to 4 years in prison. He was ordered to repay his investors $676 million. But Milton had a few more tricks up his sleeve. He hired Pam Bondi's brother to represent him. He also donated a couple $1 million to Donald Trump. And last March, Trump gave him a full pardon. The pardon wiped out his prison time, and it also wiped out his obligation to repay his investors, meaning he got to keep the proceeds of his fraud.
Now, what I want you to pay attention to is the part where she said that he gave Trump $2 million donation, or was that a bribe for him to get a pardon? Because you know there's word on the streets that Trump has been selling pardons. Okay, and I absolutely believe them to be true. That's why the man likely got pardoned, because he paid Trump for it, $2 million. Okay, please pay attention.
Now, 1 year later, Milton is back in business. He owns a new company called Cyberjet, which plans to transform flying by building autonomous airplanes using AI. He is currently working to raise $1 billion from investors. Milton has already spent millions to sponsor a branded lounge inside the Kennedy Center, where he has been seen hobnobbing with Trump officials, including Howard Lutnick, the Commerce Secretary. He also hired a team of lobbyists with connections to Trump. In an interview with the Wall Street Journal, Milton said this: I love to find products that are unreal and need someone with vision or guts to be able to bring it to market. Well, products that are unreal definitely seem to be Milton's specialty. Nikola was actually at least his third failed startup company. This just shows how dangerous and damaging Donald Trump's pardons have been. Trevor Milton should be in prison right now. All of his assets should be going to pay back his investors. But instead, he's back to his old tricks. He's schmoozing with celebrities and billionaires at the expense of real people he has cheated and lied to. So what can we do? Well, consider this a public service announcement. Let's make sure everyone knows that Trevor Milton is a scammer and a fraud. Let's make sure he can't cheat anyone else with another phony product. You can help by sharing this post and spreading the word.
Okay, isn't that something? Isn't that something? So now he doesn't even have to pay back the money that he stole from people. Trump's a low-down dirty dog, and he thinks that America's pleased with him? Absolutely not. And why should we be?
Insiders have been making out like bandits, using secret information about the war. Now, one U.S. soldier has been charged, but that was for betting on capturing Maduro months ago. Not a single person has been charged in the many, many, many trades over the Middle East war. So, Secretary Hegseth, do you have any explanation for these perfectly timed spikes in trading activity other than insider trading?
Senator, all I can tell you is that everything we've done in our department, everything we've done with information, in working with the White House and across the interagency has been completely above board.
Well, so what does it mean? Do you have any other explanation other than insider trading? Do you have a story for why just minutes before there's an announcement, there's a surge in trading activity?
Senator, I'm more than focused on doing my job and ensuring we execute properly, which thankfully under this administration, our troops have done incredible things in all these missions. My job in all of those moments is to make sure we're prepared. And that's part of the reason why we've been so successful in these raids, in these efforts, is that this joint force is prepared.
You're saying you're not paying any attention to this insider trading. Is that what you're telling me? That you've paid no attention to this? You haven't noticed it? You haven't done anything about it?
What I'm saying is we're focused on our mission of executing for the American people, and what happens in markets is not, in betting markets is not something we're involved in.
What happens in betting markets doesn't matter to you, even if the information may be coming from insiders in your office?
Senator, it's not something we're involved in at all. And of course, we take operational security at every level very seriously. In fact, no one's taken operational security more seriously than us. If you look at what it required to keep secret Midnight Hammer and Operation Maduro, the absolute resolve with Maduro, and the steps we've taken,
So,
no one's been tighter about ensuring that operational security is
steps to
ensured.
deal with insider trading out of your office?
I mean, we would ensure at every level that
Okay.
inside information
I
is
take that as a no.
properly safeguarded.
All right.
He's not, because after all, didn't we just find out a month or so ago that he himself tried to invest in BlackRock? Okay? That's what he tried to do. So please sit down somewhere, sir. Your lies fall short. Now, with that all being said, speaking of insider trading and fraudulent activities, let us not forget that Trump's own sons, Barron included, okay, are making such huge profits from this war, as well as Trump himself. This is a war for profits. Okay, please pay attention. This is clearly a war for profit. Trump's sons cash in on dad's war with mega drone deal. Okay, I want you all to pay attention, but let's not also forget about Jared Kushner, who's making all of these deals over there in the Middle East. Okay? So that's what they're doing. They're profiting off of this. And it's a shame because America is struggling for the most part. Okay, please pay attention. This is all so crazy. And it's just amazing that he's able to get away with this, okay, with his nefarious shenanigans. The Trump family is officially set to cash in on the president's war on Iran by selling drones to the Air Force. Now, Donald Trump's elder sons, Donald Jr. and Eric, joined the board of drone maker Powerus after a golf club meeting or golf club company they backed merged with it in March to take it public. Powerus, based in West Palm Beach, the home of Trump's International Golf Club, now stands to gain from its links to the First Family. The company, only founded last year, announced that it had struck a deal to sell an undisclosed number of interceptor drones to the Pentagon. But Brett Velikovich, the company's co-founder and president, insists this decision is based on merit, not nepotism. Well, of course he'd say that. What else would he say? What else would we expect for him to say? To admit that it's all a conflict of interest? Please make it all make sense. And this has been ongoing throughout this war. Cat's Breath knows absolutely there's insider trading going on. You even have some of the soldiers trying to get in on the take. I guess they figure, well, hell, if I got to fight for another country, I might as well try to get something out of it. Now, in January, congressional Democrats requested information on whether Pentagon decisions to hand out loans and contracts to companies associated with the president's sons may have been affected by conflicts of interest. That shouldn't even be a question. Of course, it's a conflict of interest, and they all know it. So anyway, with that all being said, let's go to this clip from Representative Ro Khanna, who clearly says that the Democrats have sold us out, that 42 of them voted to allow Trump to spy on U.S. citizens. Let's get into it.
42 Democrats voted to give Donald Trump the power to spy on Americans. I'm tired of a Democratic Party that is weak, where some are selling out our values. We need a new generation. No on FISA, no on the Iran war, no on dollars to Israel. 42 Democrats voted to give Donald Trump the power to spy on.
The Dems are they seem like they're just dead in the water at this point. Like they're just lying, they're floating by, lifeless and unable to do anything to save themselves or even us. I don't know what is going on, but I'm sick of it.
Last few weeks, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has dismissed several top-ranking military officials from their positions, and that's included Army Chief of Chaplains Major General William Green Jr. I spoke to a military chaplaincy expert, and she said it's incredibly unusual for a chief of chaplains to be dismissed. She said there have been cases before where there's a gap in between the tenures of two chiefs of chaplains, but she said it's usually brief and because of a retirement, but the Pentagon hasn't offered a public reason why Green was dismissed, and that's raising concerns from various individuals and organizations, including lawmakers and Green's denomination, the National Baptist Convention, who have commended his service and questioned why he was dismissed, given that he has a very positive reputation within the military. I also spoke to a retired military chaplain who talked about how important faith is to a lot of service members and how important a chief of chaplains is in guiding military chaplains in providing resources to those service members as they're carrying out their duties. And he said it leaves an enormous gap to not have a chief of chaplains. I reached out to the Army to ask if they have a timeline for when they'll be announcing a new chief of chaplains, and they didn't respond to that question, but they did say the work is currently being carried out by the deputy chief of chaplains. Within the
Yeah, because he looks more like it. He clearly looks more like the part as far as they're concerned. Please pay attention. Please pay attention. Honey, racism is alive and thriving. All right, they can say what they want, but the proof is in the pudding.
Yesterday, that he had actually rejected an Iranian proposal to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, get oil tankers flowing again, because he said it would have put off an agreement about Iran's nuclear program until later. Trump insisted the U.S. blockade is going to remain in place for now and that he has the upper hand. He discussed all of this with the crew of Artemis II arrayed behind him.
It takes people like this to make our country great.
It was an Oval Office event meant to celebrate Artemis II's successful mission around the moon. But the conversation quickly veered to pressing issues back here on Earth, including the impasse in Iran.
They have to cry uncle. That's all they have to do. Just say, we give up. We give up. But their economy is really in trouble.
The U.S. economy is suffering too, with gas prices jumping 7 cents in just one day to an average of $4.30 a gallon. Global oil prices climbed above $120 per barrel Wednesday, the highest since 2022, as investors came to terms with the possibility of a months-long disruption to supply.
It hasn't even peaked yet.
The Federal Reserve declined to lower interest rates Wednesday, with Chairman Jerome Powell citing the rising cost of gas.
Remember, when gas prices go up, that's disposable income coming out of people's pockets, so they're going to spend less on other things.
With the U.S. and Iran both claiming to control the Strait of Hormuz, shipping traffic has fallen to 5% of its normal levels. In a social media post, Trump warned Iran no more Mr. Nice Guy, brandishing a weapon in this AI image. There are no talks currently scheduled, though Trump insisted he can get a deal done by phone.
The blockade has been 100% foolproof. It shows how good our Navy is. I can tell you that. Nobody's going to play games.
Germany's chancellor has a very different view. He said a few days ago that the Americans obviously have no strategy for exiting this 9-week war. Well, on Wednesday, in what appeared to be a tit for tat, Trump announced he's now considering pulling some U.S. troops out of Germany.
I'm sure Germany won't mind, okay? Trump's always trying to do some get back. Sit down somewhere. The German chancellor is absolutely right. Okay, they don't have a strategy. They never did.
And the unintended consequences of this paragraph could be severe. It was sold to the public or to Congress as a drunk driver initiative. But look, what about a woman?
Now, please pay attention. Now, this is what I was speaking to you all about last night. This is about the kill switch. So initially, like I told you all, they tried to pass it off as though it's something to present or to prevent people from driving drunk. Because, you know, they have like these, if you get caught doing a DUI like so many times, they will put this thing in your car that you'll have to take a breathalyzer before the car actually cranks up. So it makes sure you're not drunk. So they're acting like they pretended it was something based on that in the beginning. But, you know, that's not what it's for. Okay. That's not what it's for. Do you think the government cares if we all go out here and drink and drive and kill ourselves or other people? They don't. I assure you they don't. Okay. Please pay attention. So it's something much more sinister.
Fleeing an attacker or stalker. Her pupils are going to be dilated. She's going to be breathing hard. She's going to be alert. What if it says, no, you're impaired. You can't drive your car to escape from an attacker. This could be unintended consequences that we do not want to have. You got to understand.
Okay, and that's exactly what I told you all last night. That's exactly what I told you all last night. I said, what if someone's trying to flee from danger? Okay, please. That is just not a good idea. And also, I heard just a few days ago, and I forgot to tell you guys, but I heard some days ago, it was reported that they're going to be giving us speeding tickets based on the algorithm because they're supposedly, I want to say they're going to have AI in the cars or something, but they were basically saying that they're going to be able to give us a speeding ticket without us ever being pulled over. Now we know now that they have those cameras and things or whatever, but they said that the algorithm will be able to detect that if you came from point A to point B within a certain time period, they can assess that you were speeding. Okay, so please pay attention. How's that going to work? Okay, if I get a ticket for some BS like that, I'm absolutely going to contest it. And let me just tell you all something that you may not know. And I have done this at least twice. Okay, so you know those lights or those cameras that give you a ticket. Well, here's the thing about that. First of all, they don't know who is driving your vehicle. They have your tag, but they don't know who's driving the vehicle. It could be you, or you could have lent the car to somebody. So I got one of those and someone else had driven my car. So when they sent it to me, the ticket was for like $250. okay, for going through a red light or something like that. And so anyway, I basically sent them a letter, okay? And I told them that I was not the driver and I'm not going to pay this ticket. And so then they sent me a letter back saying that if you want to contest it, come to court on this date. And I said, I don't need to come to court because I'm not contesting it. I'm telling you that I didn't do it. Now, if you want me to pay for it, then you'll have to prove that I'm the one who did it. Okay, I sent them a letter of conditional acceptance. Okay, that's what I sent them, a letter of conditional acceptance. And I told them in the letter that I will gladly pay the $250 fine just as soon as you provide to me, the officer who pulled me over and give me his badge number. Second, if you can provide to me a signature of that officer on a ticket. And then third, if you can also provide to me the fact that it was me actually driving. You have to prove that. I don't have to prove a damn thing to you. You're the accuser. When you're the accuser, you have to prove it. Because they were saying in the letter, oh, you have to come to court to contest it, and so you can prove it wasn't you. No, and then when I called them and spoke with them, they said, well, who was driving your car? I said, I don't know who was driving it. That's for you to find out. I don't have to provide you any details. I don't have to conduct your investigation for you. I don't know who was driving it. I was out of town and other people had access to my car. And I don't know which of them did it, and no one is taking responsibility. So with that being said, they didn't send me anything else, okay? Because like I told them, I sent them also an affidavit along with it. Okay, so please miss me with it. I happen to know that traffic court is nothing but a damn scam anyway. Okay, please. So I never even went to court and I didn't pay that ticket. And then they sent me another one a different time where they claimed that I parked in some space or something like that, or I turned around in some prohibited area or whatever. I didn't know what the hell they were talking about. And maybe I did, maybe I didn't, but I certainly didn't recall. So I sent them the same thing. If you can prove that it was absolutely me, okay, then I will pay it. A letter of conditional acceptance. That means that I accept the charge and the fine under the conditions that you can supply everything that I'm asking for. And they never can. So that's the same thing you should do if you get one of these new nefarious tickets that they're allegedly going to be giving out based off of AI. Like, get the hell out of here. As if AI is perfect and can never be mistaken. Okay, it's all a load of BS. Just another way to grab our money. But let's continue.
I took one of my colleagues, Victoria Spartz, in a skiff. I said, there's a document nobody's looking at. We need to go read. And so we go in the skiff. It was a letter from Senator Ron Wyden. And I don't know how he has the senators, particularly those on the Intelligence Committee, they get access to things. When a bill says that they have to notify Congress of something, what they really mean is they have to notify the Intelligence Committee. And then the Intelligence Committee just doesn't say anything, or they don't even bother to look at it. And so Ron Wyden in the Senate, he's a Democrat. He's on the Intelligence Committee over there. He discovered an innovative loophole they're using to spy on Americans in a way I can't even tell you here, because the FBI's interpretation of the law is top secret. Yeah, literally, there's a red and white cover on top of Ron Wyden's letter that says top secret. And Victoria Spartz and I went in there and we read it. It's very troubling. It's an interpretation, a secret interpretation of the FISA law. They can't even tell you how they're interpreting. Now, when you have secret laws, that's when you know your country has gone too far.
Yeah.
How do you know you're not breaking secret laws? How do you know what your government's doing? Anyways, I show Victoria Spartz this document, and we look at it, and she said, well, there's something even worse over in this other skiff across the hallway that you need to see. So we already had our phones locked up. The debt badge was locked up in a little locker. I said, all right, well, I'll go across the hall and see your other document. It's an opinion from the FISC, which is the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court. And these are the folks that it's a court in the sense that there are judges, but they're on loan from the federal courts, and it's a separate court, and there's no adversarial presentation of the fact in a FISA court. I think there should be. I think there should be at least an amici and a friend of liberty in that courtroom. That's one of the amendments to the FISA reauthorization that we've suggested. Anyways, the FISA court has said, and there's a 100+ page documented over there. By the way, when Victoria Spartz got it, I heard some of my colleagues saying, well, the one I saw was only 50 pages. When Victoria got it, she got to the page 50 and realized there were more pages that were missing. So she said, why does this paragraph end here? Where's the conclusion? Where's the end of this? And they went and found like 50 more pages to show her. So anyways, when I went over there, I got to see the entire,
I'm sure it was an accidental
106 pages. Yeah. And it's another secret interpretation of the law that the FBI is using in a novel way that allows them, I believe, to underreport abuses of the FISA program. So if you hear in the news that, under Biden, we had 5,000 abuses of FISA by the FBI, self-reported, blah, blah, blah. And under Trump, we've only got 100. And so we don't need to reform this program. Well, if you go in the SCIF and read the top secret documents, opinions of the FISA court judges, it says, well, here's what they're doing that allows them to do things that your law should prevent them from doing. Okay, so now I've read 2 top secret documents in the SCIF, and it's really helpful. I tell you that I was in there with Representative Victoria Spartz because when you go in a SCIF, you leave your smartphone outside and your staff can't be in there. So it really is, you might think like a stupid congressman, it's just voting and getting elected and raising money and working for Team Red or Team Blue. So you don't really have to have a very good IQ to do this job. The reality is when you go in a SCIF, that's all you've got. You don't have a smartphone, so you can't be smart. You can't AI, you can't Google, and you can't even ask your staff questions. And when you get out of the SCIF, you can't tell them what you saw. And so Victoria is one of the smartest people I know in Congress. So when you're in there and you can have somebody check your homework and say, hey, did you see what they're doing right here? And you're like, oh, I missed that. It's very helpful to go in the SCIF in pairs.
Remind me, I'm not the constitutional scholar that you are, but I don't remember the section where it allows for secret legal interpretations of secret laws not to be conveyed to Congress and certainly not the public. Which one was that? I don't remember.
You won't find it in the Constitution, but I think you'll find it in history. Like, I think the Romans came up with this. They eventually had secret laws. Like you'll find where some
Henry VIII maybe did some of this.
Yeah, where some decent governments went off track when they decided that some of the laws should be secret. And that's a problem. But so no, secret laws, there's no authorization for it in the Constitution. It's a total construct. And I think our founders would be aghast.
It's just quite frankly ridiculous. How do you have secret laws and how do we know if we're breaking them or not? Like he said, D Major says, PSA, don't drink and drive. It's dangerous and selfish. Well, of course it is. Okay, of course it is. But that's not the point. The point is that when they first announced that they were going to include these kill switches in the new cars after 2026, that was a ruse. That is not why they're including it. They want to be able to spy on us and to also be able to disable our vehicles. Now, suppose for a moment you're someone who has spoken out against the Trump administration, like myself, someone who has nothing good to say about the Trump administration. Okay, and they just decide, let me just turn off the vehicle so it no longer works. I mean, there's a myriad of things that could happen. They should have no business to be in charge of our darn cars. What if they want to take you out? You don't think the government kills people? I absolutely believe they do. Okay, please pay attention. Now, with that all being said, thank you for your insight into the topic, beloved, and your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. But this has nothing to do with drinking and driving. We all know that's deplorable. I, of all people, know because when I was in high school, I actually was a member of Students Against Driving Drunk, known as the SAD chapter. Okay, so that's not what it was for. And then you hear about these secret laws they have. So let's talk about FISA for a minute, which stands for Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. And this was enacted in 1978. Now, mind you, this is a U.S. federal law that regulates the gathering of foreign intelligence on domestic soil, often via warrantless surveillance of non-U.S. persons. Its most contentious part is the Section 702, which allows intelligence agencies to compel U.S. companies to assist in collecting communications such as emails or phone calls of foreign targets, which frequently sweeps up American citizens' data as well without a warrant. Okay, so that's the problem. That's the problem because they can do backdoor searches, okay, while targeting foreigners. Americans' communications are often swept up, allowing U.S. intelligence to search, query this database for information on U.S. citizens without having a warrant, commonly called backdoor searches. Okay, now the government uses FISA to compel U.S. phone companies and internet providers to provide access to communications across the backbone of the internet. Okay, and if you think about the lady who was speaking for Is Not Real, when she said that Google was going to be giving her information on people who spoke out against them or whatever, at the end of the day, that's likely how this will all occur. So it's very problematic, at least in my opinion. Okay, physical searches and electronic surveillance. The law allows for court-approved physical searches and surveillance if the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court finds probable cause that the target is an agent of a foreign power. Okay, now that's all fine and dandy, but like I said, this can absolutely have regular citizens who are minding their own business, not doing anything nefarious, can get caught up in this. Okay, when it was, first of all, the law was designed to curb past abuses by the executive branch, no less, by requiring oversight. Okay? So, anywho, that's what I have to say about that. Now, let's continue. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance. Let me see what this is here. Hold on, beloveds. I think I have one more clip. Did I show you all the clip about Mamdani yesterday? No, I didn't. Okay, that's where I'm going. Let me pull this up. Because this man tried to go in on Mayor Mamdani. Okay? He tried to go in on him. Let me pull this up real quick.
Mamdani signed an executive order to literally put a Doge in New York City. Yes. The same thing that Trump did for the federal government, that everybody criticized and said that he was cutting all of these amazing programs. We need more programs, not less, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, the Democratic socialist that became mayor of New York City and promised all of these free programs is coming in, and he's having particular people put into each department to break down and give an analysis on every tax dollar that's being spent in those departments.
So close to the point, yet you completely swing and miss. Let's get this understood. Donald Trump will never be half the man that Mayor Zohran Mamdani is. If we're talking about intelligence, looks, charisma, faith, like Donald Trump doesn't hold a candle to Mayor Mamdani. Secondly, what you're talking about is Executive Order 12 that Mayor Mamdani signed back in January of this year. And essentially what Mayor Mamdani said is that if we're going to tax the rich and make them pay their fair share, we need to make sure that we as a government are doing our job in operating effectively and efficiently. Thirdly, Mayor Mamdani hired in-house. Doge and Trump hired Elon Musk, who was already a billionaire set to benefit from his own government contracts with his corporations, and he hired frat boys with no experience, no knowledge of operations of any agency. Unlike the lie that you told, Mayor Mamdani didn't cut any programs. He cut contracts. He hired senior officials who were already familiar with the operations of the organization that they became chief savings officers of, and they found the wasteful spending within it without cutting essential services. Elon Musk and his frat boys, on the other hand, fired hundreds of thousands of federal workers, such as national park rangers. He cut into VA benefits, U.S. aid. Musk and his frat boys cut FEMA, Consumer Protection Services, Department of Education, and Medicare and Medicaid services, hurting millions of Americans. Mayor Mamdani, on the other hand, his chief savings officers found $1.7 billion in savings without cutting essential services. And here's a list of each agency and the itemized list of the actions that they took. He accounted for every dollar saved. For example, New York Department of Corrections brought the IT services and consultant services in-house rather than outsourcing it. Mayor Mamdani is actually everything that Trump pretended to be. He is anti-establishment and for the working class.
Okay, please pay attention. And here's the thing. I'm going to close out with this last video of this guy going in on the Latinas who don't like black folk, even though that has nothing to do with the broadcast. I just thought I'd bring that out. Okay. In reference to the Ashley Gonzalez case. Now, with that all being said, Jerron says, one of my brothers in Delaware got a ticket in the mail like that. They sent him a blow-up picture of him behind the wheel with a note saying, pay the ticket, when he said he wasn't driving. Well, see, they got him. They got him, beloved, because he was clearly driving. Now, mind you, when they sent me those court summons, I was not the driver. Okay, I wasn't lying. I was not the person driving. And whether or not I knew who was, it wasn't my job to tell them. I don't have to tell them anything. Conduct your investigation. That's your job. I don't have to be party to it. Okay? And that was my whole thing. I don't have to be party to it. But if they got you, they got you. I mean, they sent him a blow-up picture. Yeah, they couldn't send me a blow-up picture of myself because both times I was not the person driving. Because unlike some people, I actually follow the rules of the road. Okay? I actually follow the rules of the road. All right? Ashkan said you don't need to pay a ticket that's not physically served to you, maybe. Here's the thing. Even if you are the person who is driving, you can still get out of that ticket. Let me just say, because here's why. First of all, no officer actually pulled you over, physically used a speedometer to capture your speed or whatever. They never came and showed you a ticket that you signed yourself or any of those things. They say it's a camera. So you know what you could tell them? Because I also have done this for other people who had tickets. And one of them absolutely was driving. So here's what I told them. I said, basically, when I wrote up the letter of conditional acceptance, I stated in there that the person would gladly pay the ticket just as soon as you could send them proof that there was no issues with the camera, with the system that generated the ticket. If you could prove that it had been examined, or what's the word, that they had basically checked it within the last 30 days, that it was not faulty, and you know this for a fact, that it was not able to make a mistake, if you could send that information, yeah, they'll gladly pay the ticket. And of course they can't. Okay, of course they can't. Okay. Robert said Queen ain't snitching. That's right. I'm not doing their job for them. Please. Absolutely not. Okay. That's right. Y'all said calibrated. Exactly. They can sit down somewhere. So when's the last time they had an inspection? That's what I meant to say. An inspection, you know, like elevators. They have to do an inspection on elevators like every few years. I think maybe every year or every few years. But nonetheless, that was my thing. When's the last time it was inspected? Are you sure that there was nothing faulty about it, that it was accurate in its assessment? Because these things can often be problematic or make mistakes or whatever, or not accurate 100%. So can you please send something to say that? And I guess they couldn't because they never did. Okay, they never did. And so that's all I'm saying. Ashkan said precisely, I went to the police station and said the burden of proof is on you, and they let me go. Exactly. But see, I'm not even going to go I'm not even going to go to the courts. I send affidavits, I send affidavits instead, and I get them notarized, and I just send that. I'm not showing up in court because I actually saw a case where a judge, this guy went in. It was a Caucasian gentleman. I remember he went in. I think it's on YouTube also. But this guy went into court and he said the same thing about, you need to prove that I was the driver or whatever. And the judge, she wasn't trying to hear it. She still found him guilty and made him pay that fine. And I don't know how she thought she could find him guilty when she didn't show any proof. They didn't give what he asked for. So to avoid all of that, I'll just send the affidavits. Okay. And in some cases, I'll send like a 30-page affidavit. And who's going to read it? Because usually they don't want to read the whole thing. And that's another thing. If they send me something back, I'll ask, who read this affidavit? Okay, and I asked them specific questions. So anyway, with that all been said, it's all a scam in my opinion. Okay, I'm not here for any of it. And if they implement this new thing that they're talking about with AI telling you how did you get from point A to point B because you had to be speeding, okay, please make it all make sense. I'll do the same thing then. They convinced me with it, honey. I didn't spend years in school for criminal justice. I didn't spend 4 years in school for criminal justice, graduate with honors. I didn't do all of that for nothing. Okay. I didn't do all of that for nothing. I did it so that I would be well versed on the law because I know that people who look like me often get railroaded, get screwed over, okay, because they don't know the law. So I knew early on that I'm going to make sure that I know it inside and out. Okay, now with that being said, let's go to this clip of this man going in on the Latino community, okay, because he was not here for it. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance.
Latinos that support Ashley Gonzalez, because I be seeing comments on different videos. I support her. That's good what she said. Why don't you say it in front of them, bitch? You got the balls to go up to the black community and say that you support. I guarantee you won't, because I'll tell you a fucking story. I was in a Supermax penitentiary and there was a Spanish cat talking mad shit. And I'm a real fucking nigga. In the blocks that I was in the Bronx and in other states and in all the Supermax penitentiaries that I was in, I wasn't no bitch nigga, B. I put in work. And I went and I told them, why the fuck you don't go to them and tell them, motherfucker? You don't like them? Why don't you be a real nigga, son, and go and tell them? He didn't, because a lot of y'all Spanish cats that be talking that shit, clicking our little fingers, putting letters up and saying, I don't like them. You won't have the balls to go up to their fucking face and say it. Be real, son. Be real. No seas un hipócrita, son. Be real. You won't have the balls to go up because you really know. A lot of y'all got long sausage necks and ain't got a lick of fight in your fucking body talking shit. That shit really gets me mad, kid. Don't be talking shit. Go up to them and say, I don't like your black ass. Or use the N-word. I guarantee you what'll happen. You won't. You cats that be on social media talking that mierda, you don't got the, and I'm going to say it in Spanish, tú no tienes el corazón para decírselo en la cara, papi. Ten bolas, cabrón. What I just said in Spanish was, you ain't got the heart to say it. Grow balls. I don't respect that, kid. I grew up around them my whole life. Even though a couple of them done gotten on my fucking nerves and I done smashed a couple of them in their fucking mouth like they have to me, there ain't no hatred that I got towards them, especially when I grew up around them my whole fucking life. And my sisters married blacks and my nieces and nephews are blacks. And when I was in a dark fucking place, they were the ones to take me out of the dark place that I was in. If you're Latino and you're talking that fly shit, why don't you go up to them, kid, and say, yo, I don't like you, you black motherfucker, you fucking nigger. Why don't you say that? Say it, canto cabrón, say it. This is not me riding no black dick either, because they've supported.
He had a whole lot of cursing going on. Okay, did he not? But I find it interesting because at the end of the day, I have to agree with him. Don't talk slick behind somebody's back. Okay, go up to him and say it. No me gusta tu trasero, negro. Tell them to their face. Okay, tell them to their face. All right, tell them I don't like your black arts. Okay, because that's what that meant. All right, so anywho, I'm up out of here. Shoshana said, F around and find out. Okay, please sit down somewhere. All right. Babe Rex said, I love La Costa super burritos. Dorada said he said what he said. Okay, sit down somewhere. Claudette said, I bet they won't. Can you imagine? Can you imagine one of them just walking up to you and saying that to your face? I am so done. And so Abishua says, nowadays tickets must have an error to get a dismissal. Not if they send it in the mail. Not if they send it in the mail, beloveds. Okay, now with that all being said, listen, I'm out of here. I'll be back later, right around 7 or 7:30. Everyone, please like and share, subscribe to the channel. If you haven't done so already, be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, love you all to life. And each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember to keep the Most High first in your lives. Okay, so that all being said, everybody, I'm out like a light. Okay, talk to you all again soon. Peace.
Yo, Nick, hit him with that flavor. Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen, why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now.
That's
See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got